Ikatlong sona na ng Pangulong Bongbong Marcos. Ano kaya ang mga bago at kakaibang issue at mensahe na ipahahatid niya? Ano naman kaya ang gustong madinig ng taong bayan? Pag-usapan po natin yan kasama ang isang napakahusay na political strategist, PR consultant, at by training, mathematician, si
That's so
Mr.
correct.
Alan Herman. Good afternoon, Alan.
Good afternoon, Ma'am Malu, at sa lahat ng tagapagnood at tagapagkinig sa ating magandang programa sa mga loyal viewers at followers nitong programa natin. Isang karangalan po na makasama kayo ngayong araw na to.
Okay, so sabi mo, ang trabaho ng politiko para manalo at yun din ang advice ng iyong tatay. Make people laugh or make them cry. Tayo ba'y dapat maiyak o humalakhak sa tuwa matapos ang 2 taon ni President Bongbong Marcos?
Yan po ang problema, Ma'am Malu, eh. Ang Pilipino kahit dapat umiiyak na ay humahanap pa rin ng ng rason at paraan upang tumawa and to make light and to laugh at situations. Kaya kadalasan ang nangyayari dahil sa gusto nating matawa, parati tayong good mood, parating yung tinatawag nilang GV. Yan ang usong-usong salita sa kabataan yan, yung GV, good vibes. Sa kaka-good vibes natin, hindi natin siniseryoso ang sagradong kapangyarihan ng ating balota. Kaya paminsan-minsan sumasablay tayo sa paghalal ng ating mga elected public officials.
Okay. Balikan natin mamaya yung mga specific issues ayon sa mga survey na pangunahin sa interes ng taong bayan. Pero nung nagkampanya, ang sabi mo para manalo ang isang kandidato, meron kang 4 na M. Man, message, machinery, and money. May machinery at money na ngayon si President BBM. Ano yung man? Is he doing all right? Does he need improvement? And yung messaging, malinaw ba o hindi malinaw?
Umpisahan ko dun sa messaging kasi that will segue into the man, ano. Kung matatandaan po natin, magbalik tanaw tayo, ang pangunahing mensahe ng Pangulong BBM at ng pangalawang pangulo na si Inday Sara Duterte ay unity. Yun ang kanilang sinisigaw, unity, unity this and unity that. Ang problema po dito sa 2 taon na nakita natin, the BBM administration unfortunately has been anything but unified. Medyo
Correct.
hindi po nagkatugma ang messaging sa nangyari. Ang tinatawag ko natin dyan is messaging and actuality disconnect. Nagkaroon ng disconnect between kung ano yung sinasabi nila, unified tayo. Maaga nangyari sa administrasyon ni Pangulong BBM, nagkaroon tayo ng overhaul ng kanyang mga kakampi, yung tinatawag nating road tagging. Nagkaroon tayo ng road tagging, yung mga allies ni Vic Rodriguez, then Executive Secretary, nagkaroon ng malawakang overhaul sa kanyang administration. Hindi ho yan tugma doon sa sinasabi nilang unity. At ngayon naman, mas kasindak-sindak ang at very very obvious and apparent po ang rift nila ng pangalawang pangulo.
Okay.
Kaya doon po tayo medyo nagkakaroon ng disconnect doon sa messaging part. Now, kung ibahagi natin yan doon sa man part, uh, ang lumalabas po, because that the messaging is disconnected doon sa nangyayari, sumasalamin po yan doon sa taong nagbibigay ng message, the man himself. And there is a perception na kailangan sigurong maging konting mas agresibo o mas matapang ng konti si Pangulong BBM sa kanyang pananalita. Hindi yung parating nasa gitna lang siya, staying in the fold, so to speak, no? Yung tinatawag nating staying in the fold. Lalong-lalo na, kakatapos lang natin sa administrasyon ng Pangulong Duterte na talaga namang si dating Pangulong Duterte ay take no prisoners kung magsalita.
Correct.
Yun naman, just baka sumosobra naman ang tapang. So
Oh.
maybe there is a nice middle ground po
Oh.
because of that message disconnect.
Ang sabi nila, pagka may good news, nandun si Pangulong BBM. Pagka may mga problematic na sitwasyon, yung mga cabinet members o si Speaker Martin. Ganun ho ba ang nangyayari? Is that a strategy?
Well, it is a strategy that needs to be applied tactically and very well in measured quantities. Tama po 'yon. Theoretically, kung tayo susunod sa textbook definition ng aking practice, no, PR, tama po 'yan dahil lang mas maigi kung ang isang kandidato, isang politiko ay naihahambing lamang sa good news. Yung tinatawag nating associative connection. So pag merong magandang ginawa ang administrasyon, ang nakikita nila ay ang mukha ni Pangulong BBM. Ang problema po, and perhaps we can distill this a little bit more, marami hong kahulugan ng PR eh. PR is public relations, PR is performance and recognition. So yan, pag may magandang performance, recognition, nandyan si Pangulong BBM. Ang problema po, PR also stands for problems and the reforms that you will make, problems and resolutions. So kailangan po meron din nakikita ang tao na mga problema na ina-address ng ating Pangulong BBM. Otherwise, he might be labeled as an escapist or yun nga, yung hindi nagpapakita tuwing fair weather politician or fair weather leader na tama-tama sa pangalawang taon niya. Now's the time na critical time ngayon na kailangan talagang ma-establish niya na hindi siya ganun.
Sabi mo fair weather politician. Sabi naman sa ilang mga management books, ano po, ang leadership is doing the right things. And management is doing things right. Saan si Pangulong BBM doon? Is he a leader? Is he a manager?
Wow, that is a very tough question, ma'am. Baka hindi na ako makalabas ng bahay ko pag sinagot ko yun ng ayos. Well, perhaps sticking to his brand, he is more of a manager than a leader, no? Because ang nga ho niya, nung messaging niya is participative government, unified. It is a unified effort. Unity. Lahat ng kulay ng political spectrum ay ipagsasama-sama natin at babangon ng Pilipinas. Ako ang taga-kumpas noon. Hindi ako not necessarily ako yung leader na susundan ninyo, but I shall be unified with you managing this pagbangon ng Pilipinas. So yun yung kanyang, I think, mas tugma sa kanyang messaging.
Alright. Ngayon, may nabanggit din kayo na nung nanalo siya, baka ang kanyang atikain ay redemption o pagbangong puri para sa Marcos family. Pero marami din kayong napansin na parang mga lumang tugtugin na ginagawa. Halimbawa, Bagong Pilipinas, Kadiwa Stores, at saka kung ano-ano pa na parang yung mga dating mga anak at parang kakilala ng kanyang ama nasa pwesto ngayon sa gabinete. Ano sa tingin nyo, how different or how similar is Bongbong Marcos Jr. to Ferdinand Marcos Sr.?
Well, siguro marami hong magsasabi, no, that the father was more cut a better a more imposing, had more gravitas as a figure. Talaga napakagaling magsalita. Pag nagsalita po, pati mga halaman at mga puno at mga hayop sa gubat ay makikinig, yuyuko. He had that gravitas and that presence, no. Marami hong mga matatanda na nakakausap ko na nagsasabi, no, nakakilala ang yumaong Ferdinand Marcos Sr. na talagang may presence siya that they find lacking in the son. I'm not saying that he lacks it. I'm saying comparative to his father. Baka naman even PBBM himself will admit that naman, that he doesn't have that same panache and that same gravitas na ng kanyang ama. Pareho sama ako, no? Ama ko rin, may ganun eh. But having said that, nakalimutan ninyo sabihin, ma'am, yung kanyang push for charter change.
Correct.
Marami rin nagsabi that, oh my gosh, ito na naman tayo. This is another tool upang manatili sa pwesto at tumagal ang kanyang administrasyon beyond the mandated 6 years. So there are parallelisms. Siguro ang pagkakaiba ko, main pagkakaiba, ayon sa aking, the subject matter in which I am an expert on, I cannot talk about so much the political dynamics, pero in terms of perception and messaging, ang naiba ko yung tinatawag nating big bad. Nung panahon ho ni Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos Sr., ang big bad nila noon, mga komunista. Yun ang public enemy number 1. This is the hated, despised
Bogeyman.
enemy. the boogeyman, the big bad boogeyman. So lahat ng kanyang mga machinations, if you want to call it that, he always had that ready excuse. It's the boogeyman, the komunista yan. Kaya tayo magdi-declare ng martial law dahil may mga komunista, magiging pula na tayo. Naiba ho yan, very strangely, because in these times, ang big bad boogeyman ho ng Marcos administration ay, surprise, surprise, ang pamilya ng kanyang vice-presidente. Ang mga Duterte po at ang mga Duterte supporters. So the dynamic is quite odd in the sense that in a way, this is the irony of it, no? Na-achieve niya yung unity na sinasabi niya dahil napagsama-sama na lahat ng political spectrum, pati keso mga left-leaning, keso mga right-wing, keso yung mga pati mga dilawan, yung tinatawag na dilawan, pinklawan. Ngayon, parang soft na sila sa administration dahil ang kalaban ngayon, ang big bad are the Dutertes.
Okay.
So that's the weird dynamic happening now.
Sa inyong pagsusuri, and even the surveys have shown it, nakaungos ng husto sa public approval rating ng kandidato si BBM dahil sa suporta ng Sara Duterte and family. So ibig sabihin, Northern Luzon and Mindanao, pag pinagsama, kaya talagang ang taas, 50 to 60% ang kanyang pitak doon sa public opinion polls. Pero kung wala na yon, ano sa tingin ninyo? Is that very bad for him? Does that signal na parang tipong withering away of the popular base?
Well, again, ma'am, no, to dovetail on your point, unang-una, wag nating kakalimutan that the surveys were validated by the actual election results. VP Inday Sara got more votes than PBBM. That's number one. And number two, bago ho nag-slide down si VP Sara Duterte sa pagiging vice-presidente, siya ho ang nangunguna sa mga survey. Runaway leader siya. So, is it a problem now? Now that there is a clear break from the unity team? Yes, and I believe that that's why they're addressing it in this way po. Talagang lahat ng mga pumapaligid ayaw naman nating mag-assume at sabihin out and out na nanggagaling sa administrasyon nito. Pero yung mga taga-suporta at yung mga nakapaligid sa Marcos administration ngayon ay talagang inuupakan at talagang dinidikdik ang pamilyang Duterte, demonizing them to the ends of the earth para in the hope na that will cause some sort of seismic shift na umangat by pushing down.
No. What do you think could happen? Kasi parang sa away politika yan. But also, may mga tunay na issue. Yung EJK inquiry sa House, yung ICC inquiry, yung mga issue ng POGO, o even yung China sa West Philippine Sea. May tunay na mga issue, may away politika. Pwede bang mag-mesh yung mga issue na yun, yung mga usapin na yun? Or iba talaga yung issue na tunay, iba yung politika?
Hindi lang ho yan imemesh, ma'am. Ilalagay ho yan sa isang malaking kaldero, imimix, papapaitin at papaanghangin at babatuhin yan sa pamilyang Duterte. So these issues will be magnified, in fact, to cast the Dutertes in a negative light. Because nga, the break has been so evident. Nagkaroon na ng political rift. So yung tinatawag nilang kitchen sink. Everything in the kitchen sink will be thrown at the Dutertes.
Okay. Pero ang downside nun is pagka naman parang puro sa Duterte lang ang away politika na to, actually hindi malinaw kung ano din yung policy na gusto ni Pangulong BBM. Quiet pa siya doon sa pagban o pagpapatalsik ng POGO. Medyo parang diplomatic path doon sa West Philippine Sea. At siguro tama naman na hindi sa atin manggaling yung retaliatory action na the first blood, ano po, pag-draw ng first blood. Pero doon sa ICC, parang touch go. So may expectation sa mga tao, hindi lang to simpleng mga Duterte. How do you think should BBM look at these issues? Priority ba yung politika o priority yung inaasahan ng mga tao na tamang posisyon niya?
I would hope, in fact, there is an expectation that sa darating na SONA, sana i-address niya definitively. And again, konting anghang, konting decisiveness, bear some fangs dahil hindi, up to this point, you're right, ma'am, he has been a very diplomatic, almost vanilla, the plain vanilla on these issues. Inaasahan mo siguro ng tao na yung mga issues na ganyan na tunay na issue naman, hindi gawa-gawa. Hindi ito yung ano lang, fake news lang o gumagawa ka lang ng kwento tungkol sa kaaway mo, sa political rival mo. These are actual national issues that should be addressed definitively by a president in his second year in office.
Okay. So pangatlong SONA na pero pareho pa rin yung mga issue para sa taong bayan. Ano po? Yung mga latest public opinion polls, paulit-ulit. Inflation, high prices, lalo na namang pagkain,
Correct.
jobs, wages, corruption, medyo pang-apat o pang-lima at criminality. Para sa tingin ninyo, ano yung pwede pang mensahe para mapagtibay na mahusay na leader, mahusay na manager si BBM?
Yun na nga po. So una, expect naman po natin na sa SONA at nararapat lang naman because this is again a State of the Nation address. Para kung ano yan CEO na nag-a-address sa kanyang mga stockholders. Parang annual stockholders meeting ito. You have to start with the wins. Bigay na ho natin sa kahit sinong nakaupong pangulo that when he or she delivers a SONA, kailangan mag-umpisa yan sa wins. Again, it's PR, public relations, performance, and recognition. So, talk about the performance first. Anong ginagawa natin? And then, slowly dovetail into, to answer your question, ma'am, kailangan ma-identify yung mga problems at ano ang mga resolution na ginagawa natin. Hindi ho pwedeng motherhood statement yan. Halimbawa, yung inflation. Kasi, of course, the president, you can expect it on Monday, sasabihin ng Pangulo, 100% sure po tayo dyan na ang GDP natin ay tumataas, na ang GDP natin ay fast growing at fast rising. But he has to dovetail that somehow to the PR side of problems and resolutions na umaangat ang GDP natin pero ang poverty incidence natin ang taas.
Correct.
Ang inflation natin ang taas. Transportation natin, Diyos ko, ang dami nagalit dun sa jeepney phase out. Kailangan nating i-address yan at sabihin ano ang mga concrete solutions. Hindi pwedeng we will unify, magkakaisa tayo at isa-solve natin yan. By this time, pangatlong SONA, kailangan the problem has to be stated and the solutions, the clear step solutions have to be outlined para sa taong bayan. Yan sana ang inaasahan natin.
Ang problema is, syempre, parang na-PPR yung mga balita, na parang unemployment rate is going down, ang prices, parang, nagde-decelerate ang inflation, pero ang food inflation, ang pinaka-banner na problema, ano po? So, I don't think they're actually communicating with the people na specifically, talagang nasa kalagayang dukha.
Talagang parang no, parang you're leading me into my next great point, no? Kasi po ang PR din ay perception and reality. Yan din po ang kahulugan ng PR. So tama ho kayo. Ang sinasabi ng mga periodiko, ng mga news items, ng mga I don't want to say propagandist, but yung mga messengers of the admin is fastest growing economy, one of the rising star in Asia. That's the perception, but the reality is ang mga Pilipino walang savings, hindi makabili ng bigas. Pag tinamaan ng health issue ang pamilya, lalo na ang breadwinner, catastrophic. It will lead to financial ruin. That is, in fact, we're one of the leaders, unfortunately, in the world, no, in terms of catastrophic effects of sickness in families. Hindi nararamdaman ng tao. Delikado ho yan pag hindi natin na-address yan. Pag hindi na-address ng Pangulo yan, it will foment dissent. Magagalit ang tao.
Alright. Pero may dalawang parang good news silang yatang pwedeng ipagyabang. 35 pesos increase sa minimum daily wage. At baka daw itong Agosto 27 pesos per kilo na ang bigas. Hindi pa 20 pero 27. Yun ba pwedeng ipagyabang na parang plus points for President BBM?
Absolutely, dapat po ipagmalaki nila yan because pumapasok po yan dun sa tinatawag nating helps. Ang SONA naman po at kahit anong mensahe ng Pangulo just really has to address those points. So, HELPS. Health, E is education, L is livelihood, P is peace and order, and S is social services.
Okay.
Those are the only things people want to hear about. Pag SONA po, and proven naman po yan. Hindi ko yan sinasabi bilang part of a certain demographic or part of a certain target market. Across the board po, yan lang ang hinahanap ng Pilipino. Ano ba ang ginagawa ng ating mga leader upang bumute yung tinatawag nating helps aspects ng aming buhay?
Kung health aspect, nitong panahon ni Pangulong BBM, 2 taon na. Pero bumabaha ang mga ayuda programs. Ayuda pabahay, tupad, ayuda sa mga transport sector, ayuda sa mga magsasaka. Do this actually send the message right and clear sa mga taong kailangan ng tulong?
Wow, that is another. We can dedicate 2 whole topics for that, ma'am. But the fast two whole shows to that. But the quick answer, ma'am, is unfortunately and proven. Hindi ko lang hul. Baka maraming magalit sa atin eh. Baka sinasabi nila tinamutong si Alan Arman, sweeping generalization. Kung ano lang yung iniisip niya, sinasabi niya ng parang katotohanan. Ano po, may datos po ito, no? This is backed up by data. Unfortunately, ang nagiging mensahe is a culture of mendicancy. That is the problem that's happening now with Filipinos. So much so na this will affect, and I promise you, magbalik tanaw po tayo dito sa episode na to. Palagay ko, I will sadly, in a way, be proven right, lalo na on the local level. This culture of mendicancy will be very, very prevalent sa ating nararating na midterm polls. Na ang hahanapin nila, yung talagang kandidato na nagbibigay ng handout, ayuda. Ayaw nila ng leader, gusto nila patron ang Filipino voters. Filipino voters want somebody that will just give it to them. They don't want to be taught how to fish. They want to be given the fish.
All right. At yan yung flip side dito ng mga ayuda, lalo na't may eleksyon na paparating. Ang sabi nila is parang tipong largesse o parang pamudmud sa mga kaalyado. At ang flip side pang isa yung corruption, na yung mga pabor lang sa kandidatong tumatakbo, incumbents, re-electionists, ang talagang mapapagbigyan ng ayuda. So, what is that? Parang politicians like to have ayuda, and of course, the other side of it is people expect na bigyan sila ng tulong ng mga politiko. So parang tipong chicken and egg ang sitwasyon.
Again, we've painted ourselves into quite a corner, no, ma'am? What a conundrum and what a terrible state, no? We've established this never-ending cycle of parang it's a culture of mendicancy at talagang gustong-gusto ng politika yan. Wag naman sana magagalit sa akin yung mga tagapagkinig natin at yung mga nanonood, but in our circles, in my industry po, talagang dehado ka pagkalaban mo yung incumbent dahil if you think about it, tupad, AIX, MAIP, at yung mga kung ano-ano pang ayuda na yan, ay kung tutuusin niyo po, that's almost, I'm not saying it is, but this is our humorous term for it. Humorous term po ito. Hindi ko wag mong magagalit sa akin ng mga politika, but the humorous term for it is, that's legal vote buying almost.
Parang tipong funds in aid of re-election, ano po ang nangyayari?
Nakuha niyo po. Lugin-lugi ka, wala kang laban eh.
Akala ng mga tao talagang from the graces and the good hearts of our politicians. Pero actually, pondo ng bayan, yung parang pinamumudmod, ano po?
Kaya ang mga mahihilig po magbigay ng ayuda, kung pansin niyo, ang suot nila parate Armani. Because that's Armani. That's our money that they're giving away.
Our money, hindi Armani. Parang gano'n.
Pero unang taong bayan yan, yung pinangaayuda. Kaya bakit mukhanin niyo yan? Bakit mukhanin niyo nasa tarpaulin? Hindi ho, galing sa buwiso yan.
Sabi nga namin noon parang botong ibebenta mo, sisingilin din sa'yo. Parang gano'n ang problema natin, ano?
Sisingilin ho sa inyo ng ilang libo. Libo ang isisingil sa inyo.
Okay. Ngayon, doon sa pagbitak ng unit team, parang naguluhan ng mga tao, sino ngayon ang political opposition? At may nasabi kayo na sa May 2025, tila make or break na eleksyon na para sa mga pinklawan. O yung nasasabi natin bago mag 2022 election, tunay na political opposition. So ano ngayon ang latag ng political spectrum natin. Sino ang political opposition?
Sa totoo po, kung ibabase natin yan sa textbook, proper, sabihin na ho natin yung word na yun, proper, tamang definisyon, tamang kahulugan ng opposition, dapat po yan nakabase sa ideology. Ideolohiya ho ang nagsasabi kung whether you are opposed to the administration or not. Unfortunately, sa Pilipinas po, hindi ho nangyayari yan. Dahil lahat ho ng politika natin, pare-parehong sinasabi. Wala ho tayong any semblance of a strong political party system. Sino ho ang tunay na opposition? I wish if I could answer that question in this program, ma'am, this will be the best, the most viewed program in news and public affairs. Dahil kung napansin nyo ho, pati yung mga Pinklawan at mga Dilawan, katulad na lang po ni former Senator Antonio Trillanes. Ngayon, sinasabi na niya na dapat mag-ano na tayo, makisama na tayo sa admin. Can you imagine? That's such an odd thing. Meron ho tayong mga nakikita mga picture, viral picture na mga anak ni Chris Aquino na bumibisita sa First Lady, Lisa Araneta. Correct, ang mga ROAS, di ba? So it's who is the true opposition, who is ideologically opposed to the administration. Traditionally po, yun yung mga tinatawag nating left of center. Yun yung mga groups yan. But if you look at it, even those who are left of center now are pro-admin because again, the big bad boogeyman are the Dutertes. Nag-ano na sila, nagsanib puwersa na lahat ng kulay ng watawat, kalaban ang berde.
Parang LGBTQIA+, ano?
Correct,
Ang
ma'am.
problema natin is actually, yung pagsasanib na yun is napaka-transient. Kasi nung panahon din ni Pangulong Duterte, he got them all. Nung panahon ni Pangulong Erap, he got them all on board, di ba? At ngayon, eto na naman. So ano yung sitwasyon natin? Nakalilito sa taong bayan at mga botante, pero parang sa mga politiko, ano lang yung malinaw? Go with the winner? Go with the money?
In fact, I like the word you used, no, ma'am, transient. I'll take your transient and I'll raise it. In fact, perhaps the better word to use is transactional. Yan ang masakit. Transactional po ang relationship. So natumbok niyo po, go with the winner. Sabi nga ho nila, kung sino yung nasa kusina, dapat doon tayo kung gusto nating kumain. That's one of the rules of being a successful politician in the Philippines.
Okay. So ibig sabihin yung mga Pinklawan parang medyo matamlay ang inaasahang pagbangong muli.
Cyclical po kasi ang ano no? And thank you for that question, ma'am, para lang maibalik sa aking area of expertise again. Cyclical po kasi ang voter OAP sa Pilipinas, yung tinatawag nating Order of Attribute Preference. In fact, that's not only Philippines, worldwide po. Cyclical po yan. Unfortunately, yung mga Pinklawan po, yung mga Liberal Party, yung mga Dilawan, their main message was really anchored on the I, yung sinabi niyo kanina, inspire. Yes, it was all about katapatan, daang matuwid, kung walang corrupt, it was integrity, it was sovereignty, patriotism. Sa botante ho ngayon, clearly, this is not conjecture, the data supports it. Hindi na ho yan ang panahon para ganyan ang messaging ng isang politika. Nasa M na po tayo ngayon. Nasa motivate na po tayo. So, I think the Dilawans or the Pinklawans or whatever you would like to label them, they need to bide their time or adapt their messaging. Hindi na po pwede yung sa daang matuwid, kung walang kurap, walang mahirap, di ba, hindi na po pwede. Gobyernong tapat.
Parang masyadong fine and genteel na wording. So, ibig nyo sabihin yung attack and scare, yung A, yung inspire, laktaw na yon, punta na doon sa motivate. But what could really motivate people now? Kasi sa panahon ng social media, everybody has an opinion. At mayroong mga, syempre, may mga silos, na parang dig in yung mga magkakalabang puwersa o yung mga magkakaiba ang opinion. How do you motivate in this day and age of social media?
balikan ho natin yung inherent advantage na may AX, tupad at maip at ayuda. That's what we mean by motivate. The quick return mentality. What's in it for me? How do you motivate? Pag binoto mo ko, yung barangay ninyo, dadagdagan ko yung budget.
Mhm.
That's what will motivate the people. They're looking for a leader, or not a leader, but somebody to vote who will again give them the fish, not teach them to fish. Yun
Oh.
po ang political zeitgeist ngayon, voter zeitgeist ngayon.
Pero parang tipong napaka masyadong pragmatic o cynical na pananaw yan ano po sa politika. Kasi sa ibang lugar, mga local government units, may nananalo naman ang mga newcomers o yung talagang sabi ninyo nga is ideology o vision-based ang politika. Paano yun ma-distinguish yung national elections at politicians natin sa lokal?
Okay, and I'm glad you pointed that out, ma'am. Hindi ko sinasabi na lahat ng politika ay ganyan, and that is the only path to victory. There are outliers, and thankfully, marami rin ho akong kliyente na that are still public servants more than they are politicians. And that's a good thing. And I'm glad you made the distinction, Ma'am Malu, between national and local. Dahil nga, isa nga ho sa lumalabas na sa datos ay very, very weird dahil sa Pilipinas lang muna nangyayari to. Sa Pilipinas lang. Again, I've said it before, on the local level, we're looking for solutions. On the national level, we're looking for distractions. Very weird. Dahil dapat baliktad. So, what do I mean by that? Sa national level po, hindi tayo masyadong makikinig dun sa nangangandidatong senador or pangulo, or vice-pangulo, vice-presidente na nagbibigay ng plataforma na sinasabing exactly ano yung solusyon, paano ko may aangat, paano ko masosolve yung problema ninyo. Hindi, ang hahanapin natin, sino maganda yung jingle, sino yung may mga influencer na sikat, sino yung magandang very snazzy social media presence to distract us. But on the local level, thankfully, ang hinahanap po ng mga botante, at least based on data, ay yung exact opposite. Hindi, ayoko ma-distract. Pag ang binoboto ko is barangay captain or mayor, ang hinahanap ko, sino ba yung makakapag-ayos ng poste? Sino ba yung makapag-aayos ng tubig dahil wala kaming tubig sa barangay namin? Sino makapag-aayos ng kalsada na bako-bako? And hopefully that will translate on the broader scale. It has to start from somewhere, Ma'am Malu. Tama kayo, wag naman tayo maging negativist masyado, but hopefully itong sensibility natin sa lokal ay kumalat at lumawak at mahawa ang ating national order of attribute preference.
Alright. So construct rather than distract, ano, yung
Yes,
hanapin sa mga kandidato. Ngayon,
correct.
you talked about trajectory. Okay, di ba? Pagka-campaign, merong parang trajectory events, issues that could push up or down certain candidates. Sa panahon ngayon ni Pangulong BBM, 2 taon, pangatlong SONA, ano yung trajectory or top line issues na sa tingin ninyo will make or break the next 4 years for him?
I honestly believe, ma'am, if the BBM administration makes a dent sa presyo ng bilihin at maitupad niya yung sinasabi ninyong bigas, kung patuloy niyang mapababayan, that is an inflection jump for him, definitely. Pag meron ho siyang maikulong na perceived to be very corrupt, I think that will be an inflection jump for him. If he's able to do that, no? If he's able to, for example, and maybe it's a pipe dream, pero very very guttural ang traffic. Pag meron siyang nagawa upang umayos ang daloy ng traffic sa iba't ibang syudad natin sa Pilipinas, that will also I believe will cause an inflection jump.
Okay. But that's asking too much of the president na parang micromanager ang labas niya. But the president is also in charge of foreign policy, taking care of the national household and funds, also organizing and settling disputes sa bureaucracy at sa political parties. So saan dapat tumutok na tungkulin si Pangulong BBM? Kasi parang it's all coming down on him at the same time.
Well, unfortunately, ma'am, karamihan ng ating mga kababayan ay hindi naiintindihan yung kakasabi niyo lang and said so beautifully and accurately. Tama ho kayo. That is, the president is not in charge of everything. Unfortunately, most of our countrymen don't know that or don't realize that this is a massive bureaucracy that is running the country. At lahat ng wins necessarily hindi kay BBM at lahat ng losses not necessarily kay BBM. I would think in terms of foreign policy, ma'am, he should concentrate and really take a hardline stance on ano ba talaga gagawin natin tungkol sa China, the encroachment in our territories. Maybe we should revisit our past wins in international tribunals, no? In terms of the economy, I think he should focus on macro, so more than micro, more than macroeconomic indicators, yung tinatawag nating trickle-down effect na pinauso ni dating Pangulong Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, that became a buzzword, di ba? Yung trickle-down effect na nararamdaman ng tao, yung mga sinasabing macroeconomic wins natin. Dapat mag-concentrate siya doon. And of course, yung nabanggit ko na helps. You should just focus on those aspects
All right.
of Filipino lives.
Parang hindi trickle down, parang tickle down lang, no? Kinikiliti lang tayo, pero parang hindi bumababa yung benepisyo. Anyway, may tatanong ako sa inyo, kasi sabi nila, all politics is family. Family is politics sa Pilipinas. Sa magkabilang bahagi ng unity, pamilya yung namamayagpag o parang tipong away pamilya. Bago nanalo si BBM, away pamilya din, the Aquinos versus the Marcoses. How good or bad are the families doing now? Kasi sa panig ni BBM, andun yung kanyang anak, ang ating Congressman Sandro, tapos ang speaker is si brother-in-law.
Pinsan niya po.
Okay. So, tapos sa kabilang panig din naman, ando naman si Vice President Sara, yung kanyang kapatid na congressman, kapatid na mayor, at syempre si dating Pangulong Duterte. So it's like parang family feud.
Don't we love it, ma'am. Kaya nga sikat na sikat dito sa ating bansa yung Game of Thrones, tsaka yung House of the Dragon. Dahil talagang nalalalamin, di ba? Sumasalamin. Very family. How are the families doing? One is doing better than the other, ma'am, definitely. Dahil the cards are stacked. Yung isa nasa poder. They have every resource and all the infrastructure and all the, let's use the word na, kapangyarihan, power, to make the other family's life difficult. They have the ICC to use as a tool. Yan sa Duterte's. They have the funds of Congress. They have the legislation to craft laws to shut down the franchises, for example, of known Duterte allies, katulad ni Pastor Apollo Kibuloy na isang wanted criminal. So they have the capability and the power, kapangyarihan to make the lives of the Dutertes and those who are supportive of them a living hell. So lamang mo talaga yung isa.
Pero hindi pa rin mamamaliitin ang parang public opinion poll na parang mas mataas pa rin o konti lang ang pagbaba ni Vice President Sara kumpara kay President BBM. So her popularity seems to be very resilient.
In fact, that's why they should tread carefully dahil yan ang gustong-gusto ng Pilipino. Pag lalong inupakan yan, yung tinatawag nating FPJ effect. And in fact, it is called that. No, it is indeed called the FPJ effect, named after the late great king of action movies, FPJ, na ginugulpi-gulpi. Gustong-gusto ng Pilipino yan, yung ginugulpi-gulpi. Kawawang-kawawa na, biglang maghihiganti sa dulo, magtatagumpay. So if you beat on especially VP Inday Sara, who is a lady that also plays into it, baka maging underdog pa yan. Kaya dapat i-calibrate nila ng mahusay yan.
All right. Pero what's in it for her now? Kasi wala na siyang cabinet position. Although she remains as vice president, pero parang muted ng konti yung kanyang presence at boses.
Well, alam mo ma'am, yung kanyang pag-resign bilang member of the cabinet ay tingin ko was in fact long overdue. She should have done that months before she did it, because openly umuupak na si dating Pangulong Duterte, openly umuupak na yung kanyang mga kapatid. She should have done that months before. But right now, I think she should, admittedly nawalan siya ng exposure dahil she was getting her exposure mainly as the DepEd secretary.
Mhm.
Right now, what should VP Sara be doing? If she wants to, she can already take the mantle of the so-called head of the opposition. Pero inayawan din niya eh.
Correct.
Binarangan niya si Atty. Harry Roque. Sabi niya, hindi naman ako ang head ng opposition. I refuse that title. So
Mhm.
right now, who knows what's going on in her head, ma'am?
Alright. Sabi niya hindi daw siya attend ng SONA dahil siya ay designated survivor. The joke wasn't did not
Well
play.
received. The joke wasn't well received. In fact, a lot of people are saying had she made that joke in the United States, she would be jailed because that's a veiled threat to the presidency and the institution. Kaya, but I think what happened there, just reading it from a spectator's point of view, I think kasi the interview was done in Davao, yung mga media, kaibigan niya, yung nag-i-interview, kaibigan ni VP Sara. So I think she was in a moment of levity and perhaps a little bit of too much comfort.
Okay.
Yun yung mga nabitawan niyang salita. But as a vice president, I would say that she should be more circumspect and
Mhm.
be mindful that her words carry more weight than the normal citizen.
Okay. Ngayon we talked about families. Sa darating na May 2025 elections, unang eleksyon, unang halalan parliamentary sa Bangsamoro. At
Mm.
meron ding 12 pwesto sa Senado na pagtatalunan. But there are families all over the place. Families in the Senate at kung talagang dami pa, no? Parang may magnanay, magkapatid, at parang iba-ibang sitwasyon, sabi nga nila dapat daw sa budget meron ng pang family reunion na item kasi puro mga families at sa Bangsamoro parang tila babalik na naman yung mga angkan at yung mga pamilya din. So are you worried? Is there a possible break dito sa ganitong sitwasyon?
Am I worried? I'll say that I'm absolutely worried. I'm dejected and I'm concerned. Huwag niyo kalimutan, ma'am, meron ngang only in the Philippines. Meron ngang mag-asawang Congress members of Congress, mag-asawa,
Correct.
magkaibang distrito.
Correct.
Mag-asawa sila pero sila representante sa Kongreso, magkaibang distrito. Paano nangyari 'yon? So they must be living in different houses. So only in the Philippines. Am I worried? Absolutely. I think we should be as a country, we should be. But again, babalikan ko yung sinabi ninyo, no, yung chicken and egg, that cycle, that unbreakable sad cycle. Because how can we ever pass an anti-dynasty law when the people crafting and approving that law are themselves part of political dynasties?
Mga angkan din.
Oo nga eh. So, kung
And they vote
iisipin nyo,
against themselves.
kahit isipin ninyo sa eskwelahan na lang, sa school board, halimbawa, hindi ho nila pinapayagan na magkakamag-anak lahat ng mga opisyal. Sa kumpanya, hindi ho nila pinapayagan yan. So bakit sa gobyerno, kung kanino pa tayo dapat umaasa na siyang mag-aangat sa kalagayan ng Pilipinas, ay hinahayaan na ho natin yung ginagawang family business ang politiko.
All
It's
right.
it's a strange development.
Okay. Sabi niyo nung nanalo si BBM, mukhang ang talagang agenda niya is redemption ng pagbangong puri ng pamilya niya. Sa pangatlong SONA, ano sa tingin niyo ang parang dapat tema? Redemption pa rin ba? O may historical revisionism na nabanggit yung ibang tao? Is he close to achieving that? Or would you like his SONA to tackle a different path, to take a different path?
I personally, if you were to ask me what would I like to see in the SONA, I would like to see him outline real-world problems and provide real-world solutions, as I said. At siguro imbis na redemption ang maging tema, it's very, very odd, I know to say, on a third SONA at second year niya sa pwesto, no? Pero sana ang maging tema is move on? Can we move on from the distractions of what's going on right now on the politicals, yung mga away-away, yung mga bangayan between dahil yan na lang ang laman ng balita natin ngayon yung away-away na yan. When in fact, things that should be on the front page at front and center sa ating mga talakayan ay nababaliwala dahil dito sa away pamilya, as you mentioned, ma'am, sana the theme is let's move on from the drama and let's focus on the job. Sana ganun ang tema.
But he doesn't seem to actually want to be that clear or be that sharp kasi parang palaging merong saklay. Si Speaker Martin Romualdez would say things that maybe the president cannot say yet. Parang mga pang trial balloon. Of course, the First Lady herself is quarreling with VP Sara verbally,
Right.
kahit hassle. So parang, but not the president himself. So and then of course the sister, si Senator Amy is saying things na dapat sana'y gawin niya, be harsher on corrupt people and be clear
Yes.
on parang West Philippine Sea, etc. So parang the president is in some sort of a bubble. Hindi siya humaharap ng derecho.
I believe the president, of course, this is unsolicited and most likely ignored advice. But if I were to give him unsolicited advice, he should really rely on the data. Because the data showed, and I'm happy you brought it up, Ma'am Malu, nung nagsalita si First Lady Lisa Araneta Marcos, across the board, nakita ko that was a positive. Ang quick sentiment scan ho namin nun, and eventually sa sustained sentiment scan, nakita namin ang numero that a lot of Filipinos actually resonated with it. Ayan, lumalaban na, ayan, asawa na pinaglalaban ang kanyang husband, regardless whether she's the first lady, he's the president. This is a wife fighting for her husband. It resonated well dahil nagpakita siya ng konting yung tinatawag nating muscle flexing. So the president should by now, in his third SONA, be flexing a little muscle. At dapat maging na siya, medyo maging clear-cut siya on his stand on certain issues.
Okay. But as the man, that's not in character with
It's not,
President
ma'am.
Martin.
It's
Parang
not. Nakuha ninyo. It's not talaga.
he speaks very gently. Actually, apparently measured lahat nung sinasabi niya, or siguro the speech writers have made it so for him. He doesn't quarrel with anyone. He always calls on parang magkaisa o pagkakaisa o bangong muli. And actually, he shows up only when there's good news.
And it's a credit to him, ma'am, in a way, di ba? It's a credit to him. He's that guy. He is that stand-up guy that doesn't want to cause any friction. But as in anything, may tamang panahon para sa tamang mensahe. And by now, the time for proxies are over. It should not be any more First Lady. It should not be any more Speaker Martin or Governor Amy talking. The Filipinos, I think, would like to hear it from the president now. Konting pangil.
Pero sa tingin niyo sa susunod na SONA at sa susunod na 4 na taon pa, is that ever an evolution or metamorphosis we can see kay President BBM? Parang wala sa kanyang character o inclination.
Well, syempre, ma'am, it will benefit me to say this because I'm the guy doing it. But and we have to acknowledge the fact that PBBM is a very, very highly intelligent and clever individual. These things can be taught, ma'am. These things can be taught.
Pero 2 taon na, does he need to a little more time to learn?
I think he should pick it up. I think he can pick it up very quickly. I just don't think he has decided yet. He has endeavored to actually commit to this kind of messaging. But once he does, I think he will pick it up very quickly.
Okay. But when he does, that might actually bring him as a character or image closer to his father?
That's a good point, ma'am. That's a good point. But the data, and I keep on itong mahiwagang data that I'm always quoting, unfortunately, ma'am, tayo na lang ho ang nakakaalala sa martial law. It has been pretty much, it's a non-issue anymore nowadays. Nakalimutan na ho nila. And again, 31 million votes, di ba? have shown that martial law is a long forgotten, long forgotten period of our history.
I wanted to ask you that kasi sabi mo nga parang it wasn't the experience of many. Yung konti lang, yung Metro Manila at yung mga sumali sa People Power, sa EDSA, ano po. Pero
Right.
even martial law wasn't the experience of many. In fact, that was mga 4 generations ago. So,
Yes.
paano nanalo si BBM?
Well, again, that maybe it will take 5 episodes for us to truly distill. But essentially, they started early. They prepared well. Again, it's the 4 M's. They developed the messaging very well. The machinery was built over 10 years, and slowly through the use of social media, na sanitize nila yung martial law episode ng Pilipinas, and that's how he won. They capitalized on the promise of aminin na natin, there was that whole myth of the gold. These little ingredients all made it possible for the Filipino voter to hope.
Okay. Tapos yung pagbabalik ng mga tema ng tatay din niya, like Bagong Pilipinas, pati yung Panata, dapat daw bigkasin na sa mga flag raising ceremony, o kaya yung Kadiwa, o kaya yung Maharlika. Do you suggest na parang ganun pa rin, yung parang ipursu? Kasi medyo parang discordant. Hindi lang sa memory, ano? Kasi parang nababalik yung alaala ng nakalipas dahil inuulit nila. Do you think the messaging is a bit skewed in favor of, remembering the father?
Personally, ma'am, I am as befuddled and confused as you are kung bakit nila binabalik yan and why they're using those elements. To begin with, as we mentioned, no, hindi siya tugma. Currently there is a disconnect with PBBM's own personality na hindi naman ganyan, na hindi naman siya yung stiff, marching stiff-collared kind of guy, di ba? So it's odd why they are bringing these aspects of the branding back. I would probably adopt the same program, but maybe rebrand it. And that Panata, that's a whole nother story. That oath of allegiance.
Is there actually a problem with the so-called factions within the BBM camp? Hindi pa to yung unity team na break or split. Ano po? Within the BBM camp, supposedly ang dami ding mga interested parties at cliques.
Well, to be fair, I would not say that it's any more pronounced than the factions of past presidents. This is always an issue kahit sino man ho yung nakaupo. Even during the time of, if you think about sino ba yung pinaka supposedly marangal at supposedly daang matuwid administration, which was Pinoy, even then there was that whole Balay versus Samar rift. So every administration sa recent administration ni Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte, merong Davao Boys versus di ba, merong BG camp, merong Bato camp, may ganyan, di ba? Tapos meron pang loyal to the first wife, loyal to the current partner. So it's endemic po kahit sino nakaupo.
Pero what's in it for them? Parang are they after seeking or rivalry ba ito for the attention of the president, the boss? Is this really rent-seeking, getting positions, contracts, etc.? Bakit sila nag-aaway kung pareho silang kampo nung nag-eleksyon?
Courtyard behavior ho yan ang tinatawag natin, no? Yung the kings and queens have their courtyard. So yes, it is absolutely who has the ear of the president and the first lady, and this is done because of perceived favors, contracts, and appointments even, or dadalhin sa susunod na eleksyon, etc. Again, but to be fair, it happens in every administration, hindi lang kay BBM.
Medyo napaaga lang si President BBM, ano? Nakailang episodes na tayo ng pagsalin-salin ng tao, ano?
Medyo, ang aga nga nangyari yung road tagging, di ba? Sabi natin, to think executive secretary yung pinalitan niya. Nakakailan na siya ngayon. So, maybe he's trying to get the formula right, ma'am. Baka
Secretary din.
Oh, correct.
All
mga
right. Alright.
conditions.
Okay, ano na lang tatanong namin sa inyo? Ano yung gusto nyong makita sa SONA? Should he speak at length? Dapat short ba? Dapat long ba? Dapat parang matindi ang dating? Astig ang dating? O yung usual pa rin niya na parang measured words?
I would like to see, well, sweet spot for me is under 50 minutes.
Mhm.
That's a sweet spot for me. That's already taking into account applause breaks.
Mhm.
Dahil syempre meron dyan, di ba? Sa Pilipinas nga, sinusukat yan eh. There were 7 applause breaks. Pagalingan sila ng applause
Takot
breaks.
naman yung iba nun eh, di ba? Parang on cue, upload.
Minsan cute, minsan cute. So I would like to see it under 50 minutes. I would like to see a sterner President BBM and a more decisive, more clear-cut BBM who is metaphorically po ang gusto kong makita is a president who will fold his sleeves, hunker down, and wanting and ready to get the job done.
Let's get rolling, ano? Parang let's get the ball rolling. Parang get down to brass tacks. Hindi na yung parang
Brass tacks.
bulaklak na mga salita na
Correct.
naman sa panahon ng magandang balita. Pero pag
Correct.
hindi maganda balita, asan si Pangulo?
So that's the SONA I want to see. I'm hoping to see on Monday po.
All right. Sana magkatotoo. Pareho-pareho yata ng inaasahan natin. Ha? Parang give us more. Parang ganun ho, ano? Show us more.
Again, yung SMART, yung tinatawag nating SMART, di ba? Smart solutions, di ba? Measurable, attainable, tangible, di ba? Yan yung talagang hinahanap natin na ano,
Specific,
na
measurable,
specific, measurable.
accountable, at
Yes.
saka transparent. Parang ganun, tangible yung
Tangible,
results.
tangible,
All
yes.
right. Okay. Maraming salamat, Mr. Alan Herman. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. At ang dami mong mga magagandang ideya na sana pakinggan ng ating Pangulo. Magandang araw. Maraming salamat.
The pleasure and the privilege is always, ma'am. At salamat at dito sa magandang usapan natin at magandang araw din po sa lahat ng ating taga-nood at tagapagkinig.